Have you recently made some changes to your technique to only realize that after doing so, your golf clubs doesn't perform or feel like they used to? If this sounds familiar, then you're going to want to stay with me to the end because I'm going to share 3 key ways on how your clubs may be impacted by making one of these changes. So without further delay, let's jump in. Well, I think it's safe to say we've all been here before. A couple little tweaks here, maybe some small changes there. Next thing you know, the wheels come off and we end up playing worse, not better. And opposed to looking at the golf clubs, we just revert back to our old swing habits. And where in reality, it probably wasn't the swing changes that you were trying to introduce. It was just that the golf clubs wasn't working well with those new swing thoughts. As a quick disclaimer, today's video really isn't meant to debate the topic on what comes first. Should you get your technique right, or is it okay to get fit for golf clubs while you're working on your technique? And I'm a firm believer that you do need a solid foundation, but the golf clubs does have a greater influence on how you execute your said technique than the other way around. By design, we are wired to adapt to our surroundings. And what I mean by that is, if I give you enough swings, I bet you will eventually figure out how to hit a golf club that's too stiff, too heavy, or too soft, or too light. Which only leads me with this thought process, and that's, if you've never been fit before, how can we know for certain that the swing you're using today is nothing more than an adaptation to the golf clubs you're using? With that said, let's take a look at the different ways your technique can change how your golf clubs perform and feel. With the first of that being associated with speed. And without question, this is the most popular swing change we'll see across all of our clients. I mean, hell, who doesn't want to hit the ball farther? So you might buy some training tools, maybe download some strength or speed protocols in your quest to swing the club faster and harder. And please hear me loud and clear on this one. Swinging faster and harder is okay as long as we can keep the ball in play. Guys, I mean, it's just really that simple. If your golf clubs that you're playing with today doesn't have multiple gears and you can't swing it with a smooth stock swing or a full tilt balls to the wall swing, then there's a damn good chance that as a result of the speed, load, and force you're now applying to it, it just doesn't have the stability and it's deflecting in ways it's never done before. So it's not the swing change's fault, it's just the gear's fault for not being able to accommodate the changes you're introducing. The second swing change you might consider, also in an attempt to help you hit the ball a little bit farther and maybe control that face at impact, has to deal with your style of wrist release, or another way to look at it is, how much wrist set do you get in a takeaway? Are you one that likes to hinge the wrist up early and generate a lot of lag in a downswing, and you can see that club getting closer to their body as they rotate through? Or are you more from the mindset of trying to minimize the moving parts and, have very little wrist set and very little lag on the downswing, and the only way you're able to generate speed and force is through the body itself? And there's really no right or wrong answer, but we just need to remember that if you are moving from one style to the other, this will almost guarantee that the shaft you're currently using isn't going to work anymore. And just like in the first swing change we talked about, the shaft is likely the culprit, but I'm not going to rule out the club head either, because anytime we play around with the wrist dynamics, we know that we can sometimes affect the dynamic loft and impact as well as the strike location. So if you were to move from one style to the other and all of a sudden you start to see your strike move higher up in the face or lower in the face, we may have to address this from both sides of the coin and not only attack the shaft, but also attack the CG location and find a different head. The third swing change that we will see that impacts more of our customers than anything else has to deal with your tempo and your pace in your golf swing. So if you too are struggling with trying to get the body to fire in the right sequence, maybe you feel a little too rushed at the top, maybe you're just trying to create a little better timing to square the club face up a little more consistently, there's no secret playing around with your tempo and pace can definitely help. But once again, we just need to understand if we change this, we're likely going to create more force or less force on that golf shaft once again. So if you haven't picked up on a common theme, almost any swing change we make, the golf shaft is likely going to be impacted. As an example, let's say you're trying to adopt more of a slower takeaway to the top, and heck, let's even add a pause before you start your transition. In this scenario, I can guarantee you that golf club is really only ever bending in one direction, and that's on the way down. So the golf shafts I'm going to use to accommodate this pace and tempo will look a lot different than that of somebody who's trying to adopt more of a long drive approach. And that's where you want to swing it as super aggressive and fast to the top and really quick, hard transition down. There, the golf club will bend both up and down, and the answer there is we need more stability, so the golf shaft will be vastly different. So the key takeaway here is it really doesn't matter what tempo and pace you choose, we just need to understand the impact of speeding it up or slowing it down can have a dramatic effect on the golf shaft you are using, and sometimes we may have to search for a different dance partner to create the timing we need to square the face up. As you can see, making any one of these swing changes we just talked about not only can help you create better timing to play better golf, but it can also have a pretty profound impact on the golf clubs you're using. So as long as we remember, should we go down one of these pathways and introduce speed, load, or force, we are likely going to cause that golf club to deflect in ways it's never deflected before. So guys, in closing, we truly hope you found value with the information we shared today. And should you find yourself with any questions about what we discussed, then do me a favor, just leave your questions in the remarks below and I'll do my very best to help you find the answers to the questions you're searching for. So until next week, don't forget to take a look at one of these videos over here because who knows, there just might be a couple golden nuggets that can help you on your golfing journey. So until next time, thanks for watching.